Hello and welcome to another review of a film that I've seen on Mubi. This time I'm reviewing the film Sexual Drive, directed by Kota Yoshida. So this is a film with three different stories, and a little while back Joe and I reviewed Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, the Hamaguchi film, which was also three stories, and there were things I liked about that film, but it lacked coherency, I felt, between the three stories. If you've got three separate stories, I want there to be some thread. I'm looking for some thread between the stories. This film is three stories, and there is an intriguing thread through the film. And the thread is that each of the stories is about food in some way, and it's about sexual repression. And there is one character, this enigmatic, intriguing character, Mr. Kurita, that appears in each of the stories. And also in each of the stories is a box of Chinese chestnuts. And this does provide an intriguing thread throughout the three stories. I have found myself thinking about what this film is actually about afterwards. There's a lot of humour in this film. It did make me smile a few times in a kind of dry way. The film is really well put together. There's a lot of close camera shots. It's really good to watch. There's an interesting use of music. The music is quite dramatic at times. In terms of what this film means, it says a lot about gender politics, really. I mean, I think both the males and females in this film are all repressed in some way. No one is kind of living happy lives. The men are very timid and intimidated by the women characters. The women seem to be very sexually repressed, and food seems to be the way in which in the film, we see them expressing their sexuality, their sensuality through food. It's kind of interesting, but at one level it does feel quite shallow. It lacks the emotional complexity of the Hamaguchi film, Wheel of Fantasy and Fortune. That film does, the three stories do feel like they've got a lot more emotional depth. It did make me think as well of Babette's Feast, which is also a film about food and is very sensual, and it's about repressed people and kind of letting their hair down almost through eating this amazing food and this sensual experience. And this film just doesn't get up to that level. It's all relatively shallow. That said, I kind of love the ambiguity in these films. Each of the characters in each of the stories has an experience with Mr. Kurita, and an unpleasant experience, really. And in all three cases, at the end of the story, they wake up as if they're waking from a dream. And it appears like what we've seen happen with Mr. Kurita hasn't actually happened. But then just the ambiguity is that in each case we just see a box of chestnuts lying there. And I love this ambiguity. So we kind of know the things have happened. It is like Mr. Kurita is an angel that inflicts pain in order to help people find authenticity. I think that this is almost what this film is about. Overall, I think it's well worth watching this film. It's 70 minutes. I've really enjoyed the length. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. Next, I'm going to be reviewing A Human Certainty, directed by Morgan Quaintance. See you next time.